Friends, thanks so much for being here. We're so thankful to spend some time with you all. Folks that are watching, these are some members of our stewardship committee, which actually formed during the pandemic, so we haven't actually seen each other in person. This is kind of fun. I really appreciate y'all being here. I just want to take a moment, if you all would introduce yourselves and just kind of say a little bit about what you've done in the church here, how long you've been here, that kind of thing, that'd be great.
Hi, I'm Mary Jenkins, and my husband Hal and I joined almost 20 years ago, having moved here from Denver, and our entrance to church was through the church preschool, and we have raised a family here, so very grateful.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Akers, and my husband and I came to Asheville about 20 years ago as well, and the introduction into Central was through the preschool, which all three of our boys loved, and we fell in love with this church and the family that they have here.
I'm Barbie Haynes, and our family joined Central Methodist about 17 or 18 years ago, and we came for the kids' programs, and we had our 3 kids then.
And I'm John Pierce, and my wife Diane and I have been going to Central for about 20 years, and we got married in 2004 and are part of a Sunday school class and just really appreciate the wonderful experiences that we've had here.
Thank you all. We've had a good time together as a group, even though we haven't been together in the same room. And I think the best part has been our glad conversations we've had that have been energizing and encouraging. And so we just wanted kind of the congregation to be in on that a little bit as we move into this stewardship season. Every time I come to this time of year, I think about how I first began to be a steward and think about what it meant to be a Christian, realizing part of it is giving. And I have this little memory of seeing my father and mother every week, usually on Saturday night, take the envelopes out of the little box that we had and then fill it with their offering of the week and have it there on the dresser. And then when I got my first job as a paper boy, I got my box. And the word was, it's your turn. You get to be a part of this. So.
And you know, it's funny, Rob, but I started one of my first money-making experiences was being a paper boy, rolling quarters and nickels and dimes and that type of thing. Well, you couldn't put a roll of quarters in the little envelope, but you could put $1 or,
right.
A little bit of change. But I do remember that and just the good feeling that you had in giving.
That's great.
So as you all know, because we've been talking about it for a couple years now, and it came out of your work, we're really focused on grace, this abundant gift, the love and unmerited favor of God. And one of the things we got to, when you think about grace, what comes up to you? What comes up in your mind, your experience?
I think especially during these last 2 years, I think grace is slowing down and taking a deep breath and just having empathy for what humankind has been going through and trying to get outside of your own world. And I've told that to my kids because, it's been a year or 2 years for them as well, that you don't really know the burdens that people are carrying.
I think I've really witnessed grace through the church, just being part of the body, and where you feel yoked together. And also, it's been really interesting to be a part of the church, particularly in these past 5 years where there have been things, part of being a downtown church, and I have seen this church as a body and through our leadership really take a grace-filled position, that we are an anchor of downtown, that we are part of this community, and to see that movement of the leadership within the church and how we represent ourselves as a part of Asheville, and to see the grace going both ways, church out and coming in. It's really an extension of the Spirit that we extend that, and then it starts a positive circle for our community.
Mary, you just picked up on the energy of grace. It doesn't just, it's not something you just bottle up for your own consumption. It cannot help but let it go out. And someone said grace evokes thanks the way the voice evokes an echo. And y'all have heard me tell way too many times. You'll be so glad when I'm not telling a story about my mother saying, Rob, I want you to know growing up in our home, every moment something is happening for which thank you is an appropriate response. And what I love about what I've learned here at Central about the energy of this church is that our giving is basically a big thank you. It's a joyful response. And I've heard in our year or more together as a group some just thankful moments where you said things you're thankful for about your life, about God, about Central, anything you want to share about how this, even in the midst of where we're at, you're still at the point of a joyful Thanksgiving.
I've been so grateful for the way church has continued over the last 2 years, and just when we couldn't be in here, to be able to connect by video has been really great.
I feel like I keep a record a little bit of some of your sermons, and one of them was back in early February from Habakkuk, and it was about during the pandemic and how long. And so many people now are tired. It's really a hard thing. And yet, coming to church and listening to the sermons, whether it's virtually or whether it's in person, is a source of renewal towards a longer view than just what we're dealing with right now. And that longer view and God's grace and the gifts that we can receive and give, going forward, looking beyond the current circumstances, which are difficult. So many people are tired. But having the church be a source of renewal and hope is just such a wonderful thing.
Wow.
I think one for me is, having this group form when we were all virtual, thinking of our church and society group that formed over the last year and virtual. And then thinking about all the ways, when I think about grace and thankfulness, there's this really interesting idea that we, as the body of Christ, we bring all these different gifts, right? And I love to think about that during stewardship season, because the gifts that you all bring are different than the gifts that I bring, and the gifts that I bring are different than the gifts that other people bring. And all that together makes this kind of beautiful amalgamation that makes the body of Christ, and that's to me part of the gift or part of the grace that is this season, and I'm really thankful for a time to think about that.
I like what you said about that everyone brings a different talent and gift to the body, and I think in a season of giving can have many meanings. I think there are many gifts of not just financial. I think people give up their time, their leadership, share their gifts with the body, and that's kind of the accelerator of grace, of being part of the body and everyone bringing their gifts and talents for the benefit of the whole. And that is energizing to see, and it's been energizing particularly over this time to see how our church has morphed and changed to continue to reach and minister and serve. And even though we're not here and in person and shoulder to shoulder all the time, the energy is still moving.
I feel thankful we had this moment together. I think our hope is that we'll all just have a sense of grace. It gives way to thanks. It gives way to another wonderful season of giving. We get to keep being Central Church. I'm so thankful for that. God bless you all.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks.